Hello and welcome to this demonstration of Proxy's Memory Maker tutorial, or not tutorial, but tool. My name is Josh Quinnett. I'm community marketing guy at Gallium Studios, and I am joined by Timothy Johnson, our fearless COO, engineer lead, and our demonstrator today.
Hello, everybody.
We also have Alex, our very talented artist, who has been creating a bunch of very wonderful tutorials for us. Say hello, Alex.
Hello.
And with that, Tim, I'll probably pass it over to you to begin the demonstration.
Right on. Thanks everybody for being here. Hopefully we are, everybody is able to hear and see properly. If not, let us know. So yeah, I think to start, we'll start with like just a broad overview of Proxy, what it is, what we're doing, why we're here. So Proxy is the game that our studio, Gallium Studios, has been building for the past couple of years. Proxy is, let me bring up a graphic. So Proxy is an artificial intelligence that you create through creating memories that will program how its brain works and what it can do based on what information you've given it. We've got multiple phases to it of being able to craft the concepts of the memory of the brain structure to the visual representation of those memories, of decorations and audio and images and things like that, going into being able to build worlds with those memories. And then the final piece is that these proxies kind of exist in their own connected universe to where the proxies can start to communicate with each other and kind of have their own social interactions without you doing anything. Pretty neat stuff.
I could jump in really quick, Timothy. I wanted to share, this is the descriptor that I heard from Will that really made Proxy click for me. He presented it as, and I think this might be on our website, but if I were to wake up and I had all of your memories, to what extent would I behave like you, right? Like to what extent do our memories form who we are as people? And so the core feature that we want to showcase today is our memory maker. And the core, like as Tim was just speaking to, you'll construct these memories and apply concepts to them. And then the AI on the back end is building connections between those concepts and forming kind of a version of you, basically. If we had an AI that had all of your memories, to what extent could it behave like you? And the first piece of that is having users go in and start crafting their memories and assigning these concepts to them to build out their proxy. And that's one of the next big milestones we're heading toward is this memory maker build. And that's what Tim will be going over today. I hope that adds maybe a little bit extra context, but if there are any questions on that overview, feel free to let us know and we'll take a pause. Thank you, Tim.
Oh, good stuff. Yeah, the virtual you. Let's get into the inside of this robot's head. So so what I've got here on the screen is some early UI mockups that we've been playing with. As you can see, we've said this is not final. Seriously, this will change. What you're going to see in the software is even less than that. It's more just the functional UI while we're still getting things going. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and just fire up the game here. He said trying to figure out how to move the toolbar. All right, there we go. I think there is more people trying to get in. Is it open now? Do we have to admit people individually as they come in, Josh?
Yes, we'll still need to let people in, but there's nobody in the lobby.
I'll be keeping an eye on it, yeah. Thank you, Wes.
Gotcha. Okay. So here, let me fire Proxy client up. Okay, so this is just the base home screen of going into the Memory Maker functionality and Memory Maker utilities. So let's jump there first. So I've got on the screen here, you can see I've got Archive, Add Memory, and View Wallet. We'll play with View Wallet here in a little bit. Archive is the listing of all of the memories that I have programmed into this proxy so far. So I've got this running on my phone. So I will add memories usually once or twice a day, sometimes more than that, depending on whatever I'm doing. So I could go back and revisit these memories. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the add memory and show you how that works. Pretty Spartan interface here. The idea is that we've got the ability to upload an image, we have the ability to record audio off the device, or we can start by typing in some sort of description of what's going on. So I'm going to say, Josh and Alex are demoing the memory maker with me. Okay, so I'll start there and I'll just send that out. So what Proxy just did is we took our language models and we just, there's 3 different layers of AI we've got running. The first one is like a typical linguistics parser built with our graph. So what it did was it took the text and a concept that I've already had is memory. And then it took the rest of the text and it kind of parsed things together. And it's taken a guess. It thinks Alex is a place. So I'm going to go ahead and say Alex is a person.
Don't take that the wrong way, Alex.
It knew Josh as a person, but it didn't auto-select it for me. And so these are our 6 categories of types of concepts: time, mood, person, place, thing, and activity. So demoing, it knows demoing is an activity. So I'll put that here. This is like the, it didn't know if I wanted to add that or not, just a nice helpful thing. One of the things that it does kind of nicely is if I've used concepts before and it knows that I've used it more than once, it'll start to auto-populate those. So I've used memory a bunch of times. So because of that, memory just jumped right in there. So at a bare minimum, I could have just these concepts, and that's enough for a memory. I could also say a place. So just directly enter, you click down here on one of these fields. So I will say siege is a place. We can say a time. I'm going to say November. Time, all of these things are ambiguous, by the way, because the way that the AI is going to correlate, it's all done with graph and graph query theory. So time could be, midnight. It could be an actual date. It could be fall. It could be last summer. It could be when I was young. Like, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that it has meaning to you, and that will be reflected back into the graph and in your proxy.
Can I twist that into a question for you, Timothy?
Absolutely.
So I was thinking as you added siege, we defaulted it to it being a place, right? And that makes sense. But to your point about how time is a very flexible thing, we could say a date, we could say a period of time. Could I say like siege is also a time? Like this is a period of time and convention, like high school for me might be a place, but also a time as I remember when I was in high school as a period of time.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
So
Could be an activity as well.
Oh.
It can also be an activity. Now, this is where it gets really fun, is that you think, your brain immediately goes to, I'm seeing this text, so this text is the concept, but that's really just the top level label to it. The concept has a lot more going on underneath. There is a graph running underneath this. It's a graph that we built, mostly built ourselves. We base it off of Snap, which is the Stanford neural open graph that they built. So we took Snap and we made it our own. So Siege now is 3 separate concepts. It's a place, it's an activity, and it's a time. I could do all 6 if I wanted to, and they will become edges in the graph in their own ways. So it will correlate back and come back in a way that would make sense.
Okay.
There's more you can do with memory makers. So if I wanted to, I could add a photograph here. So let's just do that real quick. And this is just pulling from my hard drive. So let's say that these are all images of my amiibos. So yeah, let's take a Guardian, because why not? A Breath of the Wild Guardian. and we can say, kind of move it around. This is like the little cropping area, and this is what's going to show up in the bubble. So let's do a nice zoom in on the Guardian's eye. I mean, it kind of fits with the name Siege, right? So this should load that in as a background. There we go. And so now that's the background to the bubble. I could also record text. And honestly, most of my memories that I've been putting in lately, at first it was because I was being lazy. I didn't want to have to type things in and parse things. So on my phone, I would just hit the record button and say something really quick. But then my kids started playing with my phone and they started listening to my memories. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this because time is futile. So I'm going to just have a nice bunch of me musing about memories. Let's see if this works on the call here. So simple little interface, record and play. I'm just seeing if this works. Okay, good. So now there's a recording associated with memory as well. So that's another vector. And the narration that I typed in, you can't see it at the moment, but if I hit, the narration is still there too, of that little story. Let me go ahead and start over so I can show you the next one. Wait, you know what? Just jump into it. The last part is if you want to get really detailed and not just have audio, like an audio recording, and not just have a picture, is you can click on the center, and this gets us into what we call lovingly our memory visualization. This is or MemVis for short. So this is actually a three-dimensional bubble, and it is loading. I can use primitives, audio, effects, decorators, all these things you see at the bottom. And these are all coming from my inventory in the game. So I'm going to click on decorators, and let's put in a brain. So now I've got a 3D brain that I can move around and position, rotating the sphere. When it's a two-dimensional image in the back, that's like a picture. It uses this like forward renderer, so it's always facing the camera. But if I didn't want to use that picture, I could click on backgrounds, and I could click on this no symbol, and now I'm just back to like an empty bubble, right? Or I could pick a different image. I could click on the camera and load something, or this neighborhood one is actually what we call a 360 image. So if I click on that, it's now a spherical image that's mapped to the the back of the bubble. And this is another way to decorate. So I've got this brain floating here. That's kind of fun. I'll put a neighborhood ground in. So while it makes sense to me that for Josh and Alex to be at Siege with me, I'm putting a brain in the neighborhood. That's what makes memories personal. It doesn't have to make sense to other people.
There's a couple of cool anecdotes about this I wanted to share. The first is this background, I believe, was created in 3D and VR, right? That's one way to make these. And Alex has actually been experimenting with this and making some grounds and backgrounds in VR himself. A pretty cool way to create like a fully three-dimensional, like 360-degree image like this. Tim, in this, are we able to zoom inside the bubble in a build like this, or is that?
Yeah, so we can zoom in. At the moment, I believe this is about as close as we can get.
Okay.
On this build, there are other. That's tunable. I can make it to where we can get even closer.
Okay. I feel like as this one starts to coalesce, you can kind of see how different artistic elements can be combined to craft almost like a diorama of your memory in this snow globe-like memory bubble. And I hope this connects some of the dots that we were discussing earlier, that imagine this on an application on your PC or on your phone, and as Tim just went through it, you're either recording a memory or you're typing out the important concepts and then building like this visual diorama representation as creatively as you'd like out of a library of numerous assets to choose from these grounds and decorator objects and backgrounds and all that.
Right. So now I've got nice little devil. Something new to show off as well is we've got this new gizmo rotation tool that we are. This is a translation. Think of it as a gross motor control versus fine motor control. So if I wanted to get really specific with my rotations and angles, this is a tool to do that. So and this is the scaling one. So let's get the brain to be much larger. There we go.
A brain and a devil are very good representations for this. I approve.
So yeah, this is our MemVis, and this is the way that you can build these vignettes, dioramas, however you want to call these memory bubbles. And so that's the different ways that we can create the memory.
Are there any other types of objects that we can input into a memory that we want to go over in this segment? So we went over decorators, which are the devil and the brain are an example of. The ground is like the half sphere or quarter sphere that you see at the bottom there. And then there's the 360 background. That's the neighborhood stuff. Is there anything else that we can add?
Sure. So we can do, let's start with primitives. So primitives are infinite. You can have as many of these as you want if you want to get kind of creative. So I will pick a cube, and there we go. So kind of the same deal. You can move them around. You can change their size. And this one you can change its color. It's kind of cycling through the different colors. So I will make it, I believe that's blue. So we'll do that. So the primitives being exactly what as they sound like: cones, cylinders, just your basic primitive shapes. And these, you kind of get infinite numbers of these, like as many primitives as you want. So if you wanted to get, build something pretty complicated here, sky's the limit, really. Another thing that we have is our lighting. So ignore these little loading symbols. So 3 types of primitive lights that you can do: a spotlight, point light, and directional. I'm going to do a point light in here. So if you wanted to create more moody, atmospheric deals, so as you can see, it on mobile, I believe we're limited to 1 or 2 real-time lights. On Mac and PC, it's much more. But as you can see, the lighting's changing as I'm moving this around. So you can decorate these scenes exactly the way you want to. In this build, I don't think do we have the colors in the light? No, I guess not. In one of the builds, we also had the ability to change the color of the light from here, which is going to be coming back. Another thing that we have that's unlimited is our filters. So there's the filter, think of it as like an Instagram filter, which will change just the way that the bubble is rendered. So I'll put on the noir filter.
Oh.
And this gives, now it's a hard-boiled detective is on the case of the brain snatcher who dresses like a devil,
This honestly looks like a surreal dream to me, which I guess is appropriate.
Yeah, exactly. And so we've got multiple filters in the works. This is the one that's in this build, from like vintage filters to, you name it, just different stylistic effects to, just really try to make these memories, the visualization of the memory is as detailed as you want. The last one, which is pretty fun, is we've got audio working for our UGC creators as well. Pardon me. So if I go to audio, hopefully this will come through. And I do want to say that this is just for demo. These are copywritten audio clips, so just for demo purposes. But here, let's put the Resident Evil music.
Oh. I'm feeling very ready to save my game right now.
Oh, but you're out of ribbon. You need more ribbon. And so yeah, that's the newest one that we've got for our UGC creators. I think that covers it. Filters, lighting, grounds. Did I miss anything? I don't have any effects in this build. I should say I don't have any effects. It's not in the build. It's in my inventory, which is different. We'll talk about that here in a second of why inventory and your build are completely not together. But yeah,
I was going to say, maybe Alex can speak a little bit to his work on effects over the past week or so. Alex, I know you've been putting a bunch of work into that recently.
Yeah, Rebecca and I both have been kind of experimenting with how we want to handle effects, given the whole user-generated content system and everything that's going on. There's a lot to take into account. So yeah, we're just working on some basic ones that would be pretty common for memories, like snow and rain and fire and stuff like that. Hopefully fire's camping, but you never know. So that will be coming later, and that'll be the last thing that we allow users to create, because we still have to figure out all the, limitations of it.
That's something that we haven't spoken about yet. And Tim, don't let me interrupt because it'll be a little bit of a digression, but we should probably speak a little bit about creator community and where these assets come from. And I'd be happy to do so. I just wanted to make sure I'm not interrupting the rest of your presentation.
No, that's good. That's it's probably well, I tell you what, let's put a pin in that for a minute because I want to show one more thing about memory, and then we can jump into that. All right, so I'm going to jump out of here, and then I actually happen to know that there is a long time to save the recording, so I'm going to go ahead and just not save this one for the moment. Just because I know we'd be sitting watching the spinner for the next 90 seconds because it's not a bug, it's a feature. It's a terrible feature. Okay, so you create memories, you add concepts to them, you add all these visualizations to them, and then I'm going to show you inside my Proxys Brain. So this is a heat map of my Proxys Brain, and you'll see that all these different nodes are memories and concepts that have been put in, and they are spatially connected due to there are different graph algorithms of how important they are, how close in proximity they should be to other things. They're color-coded and sized based on this information. I'm going to zoom out. And this is this proxy's current brain. So if we get in here, I know it's going to be a little hard to see some of this. Some of the connections are kind of obvious. And this is also something you can grab these. You can inspect more details. This is a work in progress UI for it. But you can also grab and see these different pieces and how they're all connected to each other. There's a lot of personal insights you can start to get out of this. So over here I've got Rochelle, who is my wife, Ava and Vera, who are my daughters, and they are connected to each other via these memories. And there is an activity of cave diving, which makes sense because I went cave diving with my kids at Mount Shasta over the summer. And so as you start to pull on these things, there's just really some interesting correlations and insights you start to get as you play with this and start to move it around. We also have these are all like different ways to tune the springs and dampening of the different clusters. Let's see, what is this over here? This is, it's a concept called Proxy. That's fun. Yeah, this is a first live stream. This was when Josh and I were prepping and the concept of what could go wrong. And then different filters. So you can say, I only want to see, this is only emotion. So frustrated, typical, relieved, lonely. And then you say, okay, I want to see these moods correlated with people. And so I can see that my kids is correlated with fantastic, which, you know what? Good. I'm a good dad. Or at least I've taught my Proxy I'm a good dad. Joe is a person. This is Joe. Is this Joe Cast? This might be Joe C. In any case, fun little things that you can play with and start to see these correlations, and also to know how you've programmed your proxy. So as your proxy starts to do things on its own, speak to other proxies, make things appear in the world or change things in the game. These maps will help you understand why it's doing what it's doing. And maybe you've got too many negative emotions in here. So you need to start giving your proxy some happy memories so it's not bummed out all the time. I think that's kind of it for the Proxy Brain for now. There's a lot more coming with the Cortex system and how the Cortex reacts to stimuli and things like that, but that's for another day. So yeah, I think we could probably jump into the UGC community and the UGC creators.
Sure.
Josh, if you want to talk about them.
I'll give a quick overview of it. If you could like open up a memory to show a couple decorators that I can kind of point to some examples, that'd be great. Just any series of decorators will work. So when I was first introduced to Proxy, one of the first things that came to mind is, what's a memory that I'm going to create? The first time I rode a bike, my first dog or something like that, well, my bike's going to be different than a lot of other people's. Or, I had a Labrador Retriever growing up. Someone else might have had, a poodle or something. And is it really going to feel like your memory if you didn't choose the right artistic representation of that object in your memory? And that said, I don't expect that all memories will be like as close to photorealistic representations of what a memory is for you. Some people I think will have very surrealist ideas, and maybe that devil would represent a really bad pet or something like that. But in order to have a variety of objects to choose from, we're working with our creator community. And this is a group of interested artists that are specialized in 3D art or doing these 360 backgrounds, or even musicians, people who work in audio effects, anyone from extremely skilled to absolute beginner looking to develop these skills. They can create and submit assets to be used by other players in their memory bubbles. There's a whole other side to that. There's a whole deeper description that we could go into how those objects will be traded between one another. But if you're interested in learning more about the Proxy creator community, I did throw a link to the Proxy Discord in the chat for this. There's an easy way to get involved. We have a ton of tutorials that Alex and other members of the team have been putting together to help introduce newcomers, whether you've never launched a application like Maya or Blender before, or if you're old hat at it and this is all super simple to you. We have tools that'll help you blueprint your objects and get them imported into Proxy for other players to use. So check that out. But that'll be a big piece, I think, of the inventory of objects that will be available to you as a Proxy player are going to be largely created by the community.
Exactly. Yeah, this is, in fact, the way, yeah, our entire content pipelines, like obviously we'll be making content, but we're really trying to spotlight and get as many people with your own creative vision in there to build and share and with others. Which is why I'm really excited that the update that's coming out very soon, should be in the next week or two, is our audio toolkit that is part of the UGC tools. So this is my wallet, by the way. So this is all the different inventory items that I have in the game that I've acquired from either getting them myself or having someone gift them to me. This one, so here's the new stuff that just came in today. So this is all different audio items that could be put into the memory. You see I have 0 out of 0 for the Resident Evil save room. Apparently I did save that memory, but yeah, okay, that's mad now. But you click on it here and you can just kind of preview it. So hopefully this won't be too loud. Or the soundtrack to Fez, things like that. So each one of these was created through the UGC tool. Each one of these was sent through I did that one because it just one and done, doesn't loop. It was created through the UGC tool and then created as a blueprint that I was able to then mint that blueprint into my inventory. And it's I just wanted to show off how cool this little album artwork is. I'm a big fan of that. It's looking really good. But yeah, so if you're a musician and you want to get your stings or soundtracks or sound effects into the game, it's very simple in the UGC tool to grab one of our templates, our blueprint templates, literally just add your audio source to it, put a clever picture on it, and then you're done. You just let the tool chew it up and absorb it into the ecosystem. And then your audio could be out there for everyone. This is, I'm going to go on about this for too much, just because it's new and I love the new stuff. And I realized today that we've actually made like a pretty cool audio player. Like, so, same thing for everything else. All of these pieces were all individually blueprinted. The dev tools are the exact same as the UGC tools. We use the UGC tool to get all of our content into the game.
Another type of object that we talked about in the Q&A last week with Will was the photo object stuff, which I also, if I remember correctly, is still pretty new. Could you walk through a little bit the functionality that we're looking for with photo objects?
Yes. I don't know if I can demo that here. I actually have
Probably not.
Alex, do you have one that you can demo?
I don't have any of the decorators, no.
Well, let me at least
we have is the record thing that you were just showing, but that's not for memories. That's for just to represent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me give you guys a quick idea of what it is. I can kind of fake it a little bit here. So when you go into memory, there's these special objects, which when you click on them, would be a good one. I'll bring up the automobile. So here on the car, if this was one of the photo objects, what you would see, let's just say that the windshield is where you could upload your own photo to the windshield. So this would be distinct, like it would show you that this is a photo object. Mm-hmm. And you see I clicked on it, I can change the color of the car, and then this is for my little widget to get the fine-grained motor control. But there's actually another option that looks exactly like the little camera icon. And when you click on the camera icon, it will bring up the camera tool exactly like this. So you would go, this is just pulling from my computer, but you would then pick a image, and you would crop it exactly like this. And then when you hit the apply button, instead of it showing up on the back of the bubble like it did there, it would show up on the windshield of the car, or in the few objects that I've seen that we've been working on. One's like a laptop where you can change the computer. Another one is literally like a picture frame. So things like that, to where it's these like special objects. Another one's like a television. So you can take these special objects, apply your own photo to it, and then have that in the bubble, which is also very new and very cool for us.
It's a cool way to combine the photo functionality with the other objects. And the reason I brought it up is I'm really excited about it. I love the idea of having a memory that I built where I can put like an actual photo frame 3D object in the bubble, but then also take a picture with my camera that represents that moment, or share one in there and plug it in there. It really, for me at least, that's how I foresee my memories kind of coming together.
Yeah, that would be perfect for memories like Timothy showed of him and his family. He could throw in multiple objects of like photo frames and then put his family members in each one. When they're tagged in the memory, then you can actually see them in there. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly. And the I don't have this on this computer. I don't have those photos, but I probably took. I mentioned I went to Mount Shasta with the kids, and we went cave diving, and so many cool photographs that I'm just going to eat up all of our server space. It'd be cool to have interesting photo objects that I could then apply those to.
Another, I don't want to derail us, but I have a couple other questions for you, Tim, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
When we were going through, for example, the images that you have available, or the memories that you've already created, I couldn't help but notice, like, we're peering into your brain and the memories that you've shared. And you mentioned, that you were recording audio files, but then your kids could listen to your memories. And it begs the question in my mind about privacy. So I wanted to ask, to what extent is the stuff that you just shared with us going to be visible for a typical player's versus, what if this is tech demo and we're kind of peering through the glass into your personal stuff that normally wouldn't be visible? Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah. So that's a great question. So when it comes to your proxies sharing information with each other, so if you have one proxy speaking to another, all the information is abstracted. There's no actual text that goes in. It's conceptual of the place and some of the parts of the graph that have been anonymized and abstracted away. When it comes to these memory bubbles specifically, at the moment, we're the player-to-player sharing. So this one right here with a picture in the background of the car. You see, I didn't have a concept, so it added visualization to it. It was like, you know what, let me just help you out since you didn't have any concepts. If I was to share this with either Josh or Alex right now, what actually goes across is just the visualization data. The concepts don't go with it. So if I was going to, and it's kind of like Twitter style to where I post it and then these guys would have access to view it, and then I could, it's either they can view it or they can't. I just turn the permissions on or off. But you would only be seeing that the picture and the geometry and things like that, the audio recording even. When it comes to the concepts themselves, we're keeping those absolutely private. When it comes to like the heat maps and things, like you guys are peering into my brain. You wouldn't see that you wouldn't see any of the actual text entry on other people's proxies. You would see the shape. You would see what their graphs look like from a color and a node perspective, but you wouldn't see any of the actual data. And that wouldn't, it's not that it's hidden. That data just doesn't actually even come across the wire to keep, this is as safe as we can, because even when we first started putting this in, I've got like 3 separate graphs that Will has done with hundreds of memories each from each time we accidentally destroyed his proxy and he had to start over again. And we have the data dump of his brain. And I feel guilty looking at it. He's like, oh, just load it up. I'm like, no, man, there's personal stuff in there. So we're taking this very seriously to privacy and making sure that the emotion of the intent comes across, but not the actual details.
That's perfect. And then on the other side of that spectrum, we get a lot of questions about multiplayer capabilities. And I don't know how much we can share along this at this point, but I can tell you that in our recent Q&A, we kind of brainstormed on this briefly. And the idea, for example, of let's say that I have a memory of a particular concert, and then other people that attended that concert also have memories of it. It'd be really cool to see an intersection, obviously of people who chose to share that memory publicly, but seeing an intersection of the memories created from like either an event like a concert or a world event, or someone shared how meaningful it would be to collaborate with family to remember someone that they had lost or something like that. There's a lot of cool potential there, but privacy and sharing only what you want to share, I think, has been a big priority for the team from the get-go.
That's right. We've got like 3 different ways that we've planned to pull it off. The first one is Gestalt proxies. The idea being that like all 3 of us could jump into one proxy, not like we're sharing an account or anything, but all 3 of us could add memories to a proxy. So if we had a friend of ours that's no longer with us and we all wanted to go populate a proxy with that memories of that person, that's one way to do it. The more fun way is we all want to create a character together and make, I don't know, Harry Potter's cousin that no one's ever heard of, and we're going to make Larry Potter, and we're just going to create a character all together. So there's the Gestalt. And then when we get into the worlds of sharing memories together in the worlds, there's different sections, basically separate subgraphs that the subgraph can be shared. Whatever goes in the subgraph can be shared, but your main graph would always be private. So we've got technical ways to pull it off. It's now just trying to get that experience across to make it feel kind of seamless and also let people know that like this is pretty safe. You're not gonna reveal some awful thing or some embarrassing thing to others.
All of my memories are exclusively embarrassing memories. That's how I intend to build my proxy, so that when I interact with it, I can feel better about myself.
It Josh's proxy is just going to be just totally ashamed.
Yeah,
like,
and I'll just oh man.
Yeah, I'm doing my best. It's funny, Zachmo, who's actually supposed to be doing this demo, and he's not on the call right now. he, out of anyone on the team, it's just really funny. He tells his proxy, he makes memories in his proxy, telling his proxy he loves it all the time. He's just like, I love you. I just love you very much. And I'm not exactly sure what, I would love to look at his graph and see if I can figure out why he is that way. But yeah, he's got this thing where AIs need love too. They get dumped on all the time. They're either trying to kill everyone or they're evil. So he just tells you he loves it.
It's the modern equivalent of Dear Diary, right? Like we're going to personify it. Only in this case, it's actually going to be an AI.
But I mean, yeah, this is the most intimate journaling we can, putting yourself into a robot.
It journals back.
The journal's back, yeah. I don't have it to demo right now, but the communication module of this thing, actually using NLP to talk to us, it's getting pretty scary. Scary awesome.
I will open it up to the group. If there are any questions from the audience, feel free to either throw them in chat or I think you can raise a hand in Zoom and we can unmute you to ask your question, but otherwise we'll keep rolling. I'm not seeing anything pop up just yet, Timothy, if you want to keep moving. Maybe describe what we got on screen here. I recognize this.
Yeah, so this is, I was going to talk about, we did our first pre-sale event back in September. And people have been asking when we're going to do the next one, and we just don't have the strength for it yet. The last one took it out of us. Hopefully soon, but I did want to show some of the really cool things that you could get. This is our community asset, our community NFT. And so this is just kind of a fun little, you can use it in a memory, you can use it just as decoration. And this one it's a special one that we've got gameplay planned around it to where this one will evolve as the game starts to grow. I'm not going to lie, how it's going to evolve is still a little TBD, but this one is kind of an access pass that's going to continue to iterate as the game goes on. Other fun things that are in my bag of tricks here. It's just a dinosaur. It's not. This isn't special. I just like it. It's a dinosaur.
I wish I got that one.
I'm a dinosaurus. Roar, roar. Okay. This one is our founders pack. For those, just because people were wondering what came in the bundles. This is our founders. This is actually an access token for our founder community. So Josh has been doing a really good job of we've got special content. Will goes in there and talks to them all the time. So for people who came in as at the founder level, not only did they get special perks, but they also got this this cool, unique that's in the game. And then the last one is the supporter. So this was the we have founders and supporters, and so the supporter was the lower price point one where you still get to have cool perks and cool stuff. And this one, it's just fun. Flamingo cameras, ukuleles,
Yeah, if you're a fan of Will Wright's, you might notice a lot of Easter eggs as part of these. The llamas are very present in a lot of what we're doing, as are the flamingos. In fact, the llama is the iconography for our founders community, and the flamingos are iconography for our supporters community. So for those that purchase those packs, I mentioned the Proxy Discord earlier, they all have the associated color-coded names and badges next to their names representing their role in the server. But it's been fun as someone who grew up playing these sim games and The Sims in particular, seeing some of these references from the team. I don't know. I always wondered what the llama thing was, and I got to ask Will, and now I know, which is pretty fun.
Right. The job title, man, he's the llama. I think that's kind of it for what I had, and just open it up to questions, comments, concerns from the audience.
We don't have a lot of folks here, so in the event that there aren't a lot of questions, we got some coming through. What does Zecmo know that we don't?
That's a great question. I have to ask him. Whatever it is, I don't know it. I just know that At first, I thought he just wanted the algorithm to come back with happy feelings, but there's something deeper there. He either fears or respects his proxy.
Be nice to, I think that's a good, I'm glad you asked that, Dave. Be nice to your proxies is a lesson I'm going to take from this call. Like, I did not know Zecmo was doing that, but I agree with Dave that he clearly knows something that we don't.
Yeah, I mean, he wrote some of the first lines of code on this game, so there might be something hidden deep in there, that some magic phrase.
I'll ask a related question, and we'll go through everybody on the call here presenting. Do you have a Google Home device or Alexa or whatever in your home? And if so, are you polite to it, or do you just give it commands?
I have the Apple one. I say thank you a lot.
Do you to Siri? Say thanks, Siri.
Yeah. Thanks,
Okay.
Siri.
I mostly I speak to my I have a Pixel, so I speak to my Android quite often about directions or timers or reminders. And when I first started doing it, I was much more polite, and now it is my servant. It knows. It has to address me in very formal ways.
I do sometimes joke with my girlfriend when we have the Google Home devices throughout the house to control TVs and stuff, and we'll say, okay, Google pause, okay, Google play, that kind of thing. About 50% of the time, it doesn't understand what she's saying, but it gets me 100% of the time. And the only answer I can give her is that I'm nicer to the computer. Like I'm more patient with it. I think hey, maybe it works. I don't know. Yeah, Steve, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, there's a couple of times where I've tried it and the phone didn't understand, or whatever I asked, it was impossible for the phone to do. One time I told my phone to turn invisible because I thought that'd be funny. And so my kid picked up my phone and hit it, and I was like, oh, it worked. Voice commands work.
But the takeaway is be nice to your AIs, be nice to your proxy. It knows a lot about you. No. Any other questions from the chat? Otherwise, I expect we'll wrap up here in just a few minutes.
Yeah, so to give people, while people might be coming up with their final questions, timeline-wise, this tool set, we're hoping to have the features pretty much finalized and code complete in the next short unit of time. I can't give a real timeline to it, but it's not months and months away by any means. With just the feature being feature complete, and then getting it ready to go out to our founder community first, with supporters, and then just like all the cool people in Discord shortly after that. So people should be able to, in a non-specific, not very long away amount of time, be able to get their proxies, create their, and here's a fun one too. If you've created an account on Gallium Studios, so if you go to our website and you go and you create an account and you get everything set up and everything linked properly, you don't know it, but that actually did create you a proxy. And so you have one, it just doesn't have any of your memories yet. So yeah, these tools will let you interface with it shortly.
And I'll use that as a bridge to promote the Discord one more time. I threw a link in chat. That's the best way to keep up to date on everything that's happening with Proxy's development. We are in there literally every day answering questions. Will stops by regularly and answers folks' questions and just interacts with folks. So if you're interested in what we're working on, you want to learn more, you want to see more like work in progress content and just get updates as we have them, make sure you join that Proxy Discord. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, I talked to Will today about Discord. It came up in one of our discussions, and he said that he really liked. He is yet to be serious in there. He's been very sarcastic and very funny, and he said that was coming off really well. He was really happy that people weren't like annoyed with his sense of humor so far. So.
Yeah, if you want to get trolled by Will Wright, the Proxy Discord is the place to be.
Absolutely.
I haven't seen any additional questions come in, so unless one comes in as we're saying this, I want to say thanks for everyone for joining. If you're checking out the VOD after the Siege folks shared it, thanks so much for checking us out. We have a YouTube channel as well. Follow us at Gallium Studios on YouTube. We have Twitter and Instagram are both active. My priority would be go to the Discord. That's probably the best way to get the real-time, up-to-date information from us. That's our primary communication channel with our community right now.
Awesome.
Thank you, Dave. Dave says thank you, Timothy, and to everyone else.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. This is super fun. And yeah, can't wait to make memories with you guys.
And thanks so much to Wes and the rest of the folks from Siege Crew for having us. This has been a ton of fun. Love to do it. Hope to do it again sometime soon.
Yes, I hope everyone has a great Siege. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the great talk. And there are more things going on over the weekend, so everyone tune in and check everything out.
Thanks so much.
That's good. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye-bye.